2, 1.
Hi, everybody. John Townsend here. You're on the Dr. Townsend Live program. We are here every week, every Wednesday from 2 to 3 Pacific time. And if you're new to the show, welcome. If you're not new to the show, glad to have you back in the family. What we do here is we talk about all kinds of problems that human beings have, relationships and marriage and dating and work and kids and emotional issues and depression, and anxiety. And what am I going to do in my life, my career, and all those sorts of things. We kind of do everything, but maybe, astrophysics. I don't know much about that, but the rest of it, we've got struggles and challenges. And we have such a great community of people that are honest and vulnerable and really want to find answers, and we want to help you with the answers. So you're on all the different media channels. We're on those, and welcome to which one you are that you are on viewing this right now. And you can either call us, talk to me, not on video, but you talk to me and I talk to you, or you can text the question. And our great producer, Stacy, is here right now. Stacy, say hi to these nice people.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Dr. Townsend Show today. We're so glad that you joined us. And, we are here each week to help you. Dr. Townsend is here to answer your questions. So you've already received the call-in number. I see some of you already lining up in the waiting room. And also, if you're watching us today via his Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube platforms, you can go ahead, if you're unable to call in, and you can write your question in the comments, and I will read those off to Dr. Townsend, and he will answer you. So without further ado, let's get those calls coming in for Dr. Townsend today.
All right. Now we got somebody now, Stacy?
You do. Looks like you have Lisa. Let's see here.
Lisa, I'm going to ask you when you're up and ready. I want to know where you are in the world, and we'll get started. Where are you?
Okay, Lisa, if you're with us, we're going to hide your camera. So you are live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead with your question and let him know where you're calling in from. Lisa, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I'm the Lisa that we had technical problems back in December.
No worries, Lisa. This is only a call-in show, so I did hide your video. Just don't be alarmed by that. And Dr. Townsend is live with you, so go ahead and tell him where you're from and what your question is for him today.
Okay, I'm from Pittsburgh, California here, a Northern California girl. And I talked to you, Dr. Townsend, twice. I think it was back in December, and I'm the grandmother raising a 12-year-old grandson. And I'm the one that asked about, that I had a lot of hurt feelings surrounding my long-term Christian friendships, not really rallying around my husband and I, with the issues and challenges.
Yeah, I remember. It was a bad situation. Yeah.
So I guess I saw on your Instagram that you were talking about, guilt. And so my question today is, am I projecting guilt onto others when it's not appropriate, So that's the question.
Okay. It's a great question, Lisa. What makes you wonder that? What makes you have that question in your head as to if you're projecting guilt on others?
Okay. Well, I have this I don't even talk to her anymore because 2 years ago, and this is a gal that's a Christian. She just lives like in our neighborhood. We went to the same church. We bump bellies together with my daughter, who's the one that we don't see anymore because actually she's sitting in prison and pregnant with a fifth. And I don't talk to her. I have very strong boundaries, but
Did she accuse you of guiltifying her?
So it's my friend that I have had a relationship. Well, I haven't in the past 2 years because it got broken, but I've known her for 34 years and her and her husband, and they're very strong Christians. And, their 2 daughters were great. Did
she accuse you of guiltifying her or manipulating her some way?
Yes, because when I, just because what it was is 2 years ago, she sent me some text message about you know, the Trump issue. And I just basically was like, God, if you cared enough about my personal issues as you do this political stuff. So I just said, I really don't have time for this. I'm raising my Jaden. And then I just was real honest in the texting about my hurts, but I didn't per se project it just on her. It was just the Christian community in general that doesn't understand. Because
so what was her response, Lisa?
Well, the bottom line, this is my hurt. The bottom line was, don't put guilt on me. You have high expectations and you overcompensate for Jaden because he has a wonderful life. And I basically said, it doesn't matter what a wonderful life he has.
Okay, Lisa. So that's what the question is are you putting guilt on people? You want to find out if this friend of yours or ex-friend or whatever she is, you want to find out if there's some validity to her kind of diagnosis of you as a guiltifier. Is that the question?
Yeah, because of me.
All right, let me address that a little bit. It's an important question, Lisa. And there's a couple of dimensions to this. First off, let me tell you what a guiltifier is. A guiltifier is a person that puts over responsibility on other people for the problems they have. For example, if you said to me, John, how was your hamburger you had? And I say, it was awful, Lisa. You told me it was a great place to go. It was an awful hamburger. You ruined my day. That would be guiltifying Lisa because I'm putting the burden of responsibility for my misery and my pain and my bad lunch on Lisa when it wasn't your fault. That's what guiltifying is. Now, it sounds like that your friend interpreted you're saying, I'm not getting support and I just, I don't have time for all this because I'm doing other things. And she interpreted that as you guiltifying her. I don't think you were in your heart, Lisa, but let me talk a little bit about texting, this sort of thing. Never, never, never make those kind of statements on text. It's awful. Anytime we do a confrontive text, I've seen them be helpful in like 1% of the time because people can't feel your heart. They can't feel your grace. They can't look at your eyes and know that you're happy and that you care about them. All they see is these words and our brain defaults to guilt. Our brain defaults, she's mad. She doesn't like me. So I would think that what your friend did was misinterpreted your heart because of the medium. So what I would do next time is if you feel like, here she is talking about politics or whatever, and you feel strong about it, do not engage with the contrast between your life and the Christian community and politics. Call her up and say, can we talk about it for 5 minutes? Because we're friends and it came off this way. You will have probably an 80% chance, a better chance of getting a good resolution because of the warmth of the medium of phone or lunch or Zoom over email and text. It's just a rule I have with people. I don't think you were intentionally guiltifying, but that's what I would do. So Lisa, thanks again for your call. I hope things go well with you and your grandson and all things you're doing because you have a big responsibility. Thank you very much. Take care.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Townsend.
Isn't that a big deal? People can just sort of like, I could say on the text, anything, and people, and it sounds just so harsh, like, no, I didn't understand what you said. Oh, you're saying I'm not understandable? So never, no arguments, no confrontations, be nice, be factual, but solve problems either in Zoom or Face or phone call. Anyway, great call. And who's up next, Stacy?
Okay, you are live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead with your first name, where you're from, and your question for Dr. Townsend today. Caller, are you with us? Okay, maybe some technical problems here. We will move.
The gremlins are here, Stacy. We got to get rid of the gremlins today.
We'll move on to the next. Okay, it looks like you have a new caller, Atlanta. Atlanta, you are live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead with where you're from and your question for Dr. Townsend today.
Thank you. Hello to you both. This is Heather. I'm calling from Atlanta. And hi, I have a question about family boundaries and confronting a family member about their destructive communication, kind of stonewalling or shutting down communication with, say, interrupting, you know, all different kinds of levels so that I can't speak and say my true feelings in a healthy way about my boundaries. So they're not liking.
How close is the family member? Are we talking about spouse or boy you're dating, or are you talking about son or grandson or grandmother? And
I'll keep it real. This is my mother. Yes.
Mom. Okay. Well, God bless mom, but sometimes there can be problems, can't there?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So when you try to say, no, I don't want to do it that way in our family culture, or I'd rather not do this, she sort of overruns it or dismisses, or what does she do?
I expressed my feelings about something, the way something has impacted me since my healthy journey, and I'm able to express my feelings right. She's kind of probably taken alarm to it. She'll start repeating herself very loudly over and over until I have to hang up. It used to be where she just hung up and blamed it on the phone. Right now, it's
really
different.
She
Clever.
kind of like pulled the bad phone distraction.
Oh, I've experienced a stonewalling behavior from someone once before as well. Go figure. So I know it's deceitfulness. So
yeah. Okay. So what you're saying is, I would like to know that when I have a disagreement in values or a schedule or a different choice from mom, how to get her to respect it.
Yes, I say, right. This made me feel unloved, or, I wouldn't maybe say unloved, but I might say, that kind of hurt so I'm able to start speaking my voice. Right.
Okay. And then that's when she flips out or diverts it or whatever she is. Okay. All right. Heather, do you know have you been to this program before?
I haven't, but I've read the books. Some of them.
Oh, you did? Some of the boundaries books? Okay. Do you know what a role play is?
Yes.
Your voice got really quiet.
Are we about to do a role play?
We are.
Okay.
We're going to fix this problem once for all. And here's why there's so much great research about role plays, Heather, because I can give you a list of 3 principles, and that can help because that's the left side of our brain. Our left side, rational side needs lists. Try this, try this, try this. But the right side, where the experience is really where you go, oh, I can do that. Okay, I see what happened right there. And you get much less anxious and much more confident. You get more confident in these difficult conversations. So you up for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, all right. So I need for you to be mom in all of her sort of dismissive glory, to do all the stuff she does. And I'll be the healthy Heather, and I'm going to handle it right this time. The only thing you can do is probably don't hang up because there's nobody to talk to. Do everything else she does but hang up. How's that, right?
Sounds great.
All right. Now, so the best place for us to start is I don't think that anymore that Heather, I'm going to change one thing before we go into it. I'm going to give you a new ground rule for mom. Don't talk about how she hurt you in the middle of the hurt. In the middle of the hurt. So when she says, well, you look fat in that dress, then you go, okay, well, how's your lunch? And then at a separate time, before you escalate and she escalates, and it just melts down because feelings get high. We call it the amygdala hijack. You go fight or flight because your feelings are really hurt and she's going to be defensive. It's going to be a big mess. You just kind of log it. And then the next time you talk, you start the conversation with that. So we're putting structure and preparation. Last time we talked, Mom, this is what happened. And where there's a lot better probability of nobody escalating. You follow me so far?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. So say something she said recently to you that hurt you so I can use that as our example.
It was more a behavior, but I feel like, Mom, whenever I try to get some alone time with my niece, every time something comes up and I really wanted just some alone time with me and her, but I feel like I'm not able to have that. I don't know why that hurts me.
Now, what's the life situation? Where is niece and where are you? What houses? I don't get the geography.
We're 725 miles away from each other, but I've noticed over the last 3-4 years, every time I try to make attempts, even including sending a plane ticket and everything, COVID happens. I get that, but
No, I mean, does your niece live near to your mom?
she's with my mom and my sister. They both take care of her.
So mom and sister take care of niece.
Yes.
Niece had got some kind of a disability.
She's pretty much parentless, so those are her parents.
Okay. How old is she?
About to be 18.
Okay, poor thing. Okay, so mom and your aunt are taking care of niece, and niece must be your aunt's daughter. Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
So
I'm sorry, my deceased aunt, my deceased sister's daughter. I take that back. My other sister's.
Okay, so her two aunts are taking care of her. Her
mother.
Grandmother.
Yes.
Her grandmother and her great aunt are taking care of her.
And aunt and my sister are taking care of her. Yeah.
Okay. All right, got it. So you want to connect. Let's call her Rachel. All right. You want to connect with her, but I guess it's when you fly down there or when you talk that mom interrupts. What's the interruption thing? Is it a physical thing, a Zoom thing? Is it a in the house thing? Is it a phone call? What happens?
It's basically, shifting the blame of Jade's just so busy, and then COVID, and
No, I mean when you reach out to Jade and say, I'm gonna fly you down here, your mom says no, she can't.
Right. Or she'll blame it on my busy schedule, but when I'm open, it's never the right time. But my biggest problem was that she wanted just to come in here unannounced and bring her with, but I really wanted all these years just some alone time with her, because that's
with Rachel,
reasons,
with Rachel, your niece.
Example, Rachel. We'll call her Rachel.
And so the concern is, it seems like mom's not allowing you access to Rachel.
Right. She's not. Yeah. And I can feel it and sense it and understand, but I wanted to let her know that I wasn't okay with just her coming unannounced, her and Rachel.
Okay. So you haven't had that conversation yet. You haven't talked about, okay, let's talk about that. That's a good specific example that she wanted to just drop in. And did she drop in?
Well, no, but she was on her way.
And then what happened?
She was on her way in her mind. Yeah. Already here. Yeah. Without asking me.
Wait a minute. She came and then she changed her mind?
No, she wanted to drive here as if it was okay without asking me, and kind of assuming that I was going to be okay with it.
But did she complete that? Did she actually come on the drive? Did she arrive at your place?
No, she didn't.
And did she do it? And why did she change her mind?
I just, again, it never worked out. There were many different situations.
Logistic reasons. Okay.
She ended up hanging up. You
just don't want her to do that again.
She just sabotaged the whole phone conversation is what it was.
Okay, I got it. All right. So I'm going to bring that up, and my goal is certainly to help Heather to do this right next time. But my goal is going to be that mom gets it clear that you are fine with her visiting, but she must from now on call ahead of time and make sure the schedule works for you. That's going to be our goal. All right. But you do all the flipping out and diverting stuff, and I'll see how I can handle it. So far, so good?
Yes.
Okay, we're on the phone. Hey, Mom.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I am good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I got your text message from 6 months ago, and I saw you wanted some alone time with me, but I thought I would bring Rachel down with, and we'll just, we'll be here in a few days. What do you think?
Oh, gosh, I'd love having both of you guys there. I need to look at the schedule. And so I don't know if the next few days will work. And Mom, that brings up something important I wanted to talk to you about. Is remember that time that you drove down without checking?
I can't phone. Okay, we just disconnected because I couldn't. I'm like, mom, and she's nowhere to be.
Now, how often has she done that, Heather? One time or 100 times?
Over the years, enough times for me to count.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna call you the next day. It's like that show Jeopardy. Dum 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 dum. Time is passing. This the next day. Hey, Mom.
Hello. How you doing?
Good. Sorry about the disconnection. Is the phone okay now?
I'm kind of busy. Right now. I don't know if it's a good time.
All right. Tell me when's a good time to call you. Because I got to talk about something important.
Last time I tried to talk to you, you weren't available. I don't know when's going to be a good time.
I know our crazy schedules. Okay. So you don't know when I can call you because I'd like
You
to
know
talk to
what?
you for
Why
15
don't
minutes.
why don't you try me again in a little bit? I might be available.
Okay. See you, Mom. Dun,
Okay.
dun, 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 dun. Hey, Mom, how's the time? I need 5 minutes. Is that workable?
What are we going to talk about?
Our relationship.
You know, every time I tried to talk to you, Heather, you seem to never be available, and now you just expect me to be available.
Oh
I don't
gosh,
know.
Mom, I didn't hear expectation. I think I've called back 3 times, so you'd be happy with it. I'm trying to be very flexible. So is this a bad time again
It
to talk?
always seems to be around your schedule, Heather.
You tell me. You tell me a good time, Mom. I want to be. It's an
I
important
don't know. I've
conversation
got
for
a
me.
lot going on with my health, and things are going really bad with Rachel right now. You know, I
Okay.
asked for us to pray together the other day, but you weren't available to talk yet because you wanted to talk
Mom,
about something else. It's always
Mom, do you realize? Mom, do you
time,
realize
Heather.
that as you say that I don't have time to talk, you are not talking to me? I mean, you're talking to me, and I'm
I just
talking to you,
can't
but you're
right
saying
now.
that.
I just can't do
Okay.
this right
All right.
now.
Before you hang up, I'll just say real quick, I love you, and don't ever come until it's scheduled with me. Okay, Mom? Don't
Gotta
ever
go.
come by. Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right, Heather. That was loony.
Was that a tough enough challenge for you?
Oh, no, that was a softball.
Oh,
What
no,
are you talking about? I've had worse stuff than that. But here's my point is your mom is highly, highly defensive and doesn't want to hear negative realities. And you want to solve one little problem. You're being very reasonable. And so you've got to keep at it until she forced you to say in 10 seconds what it should have taken. I wanted to spend more time and be loving and direct. She's not going to allow that. So remember, as she's getting ready to hang up, don't come until you schedule. Boom. But mission accomplished. Now, here's a principle. Here's the principle for Heather is you be like, the Bible talks about be like the ant. It talks about in Proverbs. We all need to be like the ant who, because she doesn't have a chief or a captain, she gets the job done on her own. You're going to have to persevere like a little ant about this problem until do it just exactly like I did. Let her hang up, divert, and be patient because you don't care about the response. You care about her knowing it's not okay to come spontaneously. So do it just like I did it. And good luck with that, Heather.
Thank you so much, Doc. Have a great one.
Take care. Oh my gosh. You know, sometimes we have people in our lives, moms, dads, spouses, people we're dating, kids or whatever, that are what we call boundary busters. And a boundary buster is a person that doesn't like to hear the word, guess what? Guess what? Guess what word they don't like to hear? I'd love to see everybody's chats right now because it's got two letters to it, right? They hate the word no. And if they can't control the situation, then they'll cry or escalate or do what mom did. Oh, what's wrong? Phone here. And it's nuts. But I'm telling you, you must deal with them in a kind way, but a direct way. And here's the formula. The more that they're open to listen, the more you give them ideas and how much you care about them and you want to own your part. But the less time they give you and the more wiggly they are, you've got to be more and more direct. You're never mean or cruel, but you must be more direct. That's why I'm so glad that Heather's mom hung up at the very end. So I could say, as it's hanging up, don't come to the house. It's like the plane's crashing. I got to get the message across. There are some boundary busters that you got to do that with. So glad Heather called. Okay, Stacey, who's up?
Absolutely. Caller, you are.
Absolutely. How's absolutely doing?
I'm agreeing with what you said.
I was joking with you, like absolutely somebody's name. It was a really bad joke. It's really bad.
I think we have a caller on the line. Caller, if you're with us, you are live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead with your first name and where you are from.
My name is Sue, and I am from the Harrison, Ohio area.
Hi, Sue. How are you?
I'm doing a lot better.
Better than
I
what?
have a quick question. Well, I just realized that I had been involved with a narcissistic personality disorder person, which I'm glad I know now.
You saw the TikTok that I did on narcissism?
No, I've been studying it for months.
Okay. Well, it is a relief to know where the craziness is coming from. And so I'm glad you found out. So thanks for letting us know. And what's your question today?
Well, I am into the inner child healing.
Mhm.
So I am working very hard on inner child issues from trauma. So once I complete, well, I guess that would be an ongoing process in life. I want to attract emotionally healthier people.
Okay, so let's
Is
form
that
a question out of
possible?
that.
Well, is that possible?
To learn to attract healthier people?
Well, once you start healing your childhood trauma wounds.
Absolutely. In fact, when you say, well, maybe when I complete it, you can complete that work. It doesn't mean you'll be perfect, but I never tell people, well, you'll be doing this forever, unless you've got, I don't know, diabetes or some medical disorder that won't go away. There's no cure for. You can really complete this work and have what they mean by inner child is the vulnerable parts of us, the parts of us that get scared, the parts of us that get overwhelmed, the parts of us that feel really guilty sometimes. And those parts are kind of fragile. And once you put them together in the rest of your life with your strengths and all that, you don't have inner child problems anymore. So don't let anybody tell you you'll always be doing that work. Now, why do you have to wait to start with healthy people? Why don't you think you can start now? Because I think you can start now.
I already have eliminated toxic people, a lot of them.
And
I recognize the behaviors, and I choose not to be involved with people like that. So
right, but you kind of gave the impression that, well, do I have to be like really far along in the process or complete it to start? And I'm thinking, why can't Sue start attracting healthy people today? Why do you think you won't be able to? It's sort of like, unless I'm super healthy and the inner child stuff is done, then I can't do that. But I don't believe that, Sue.
okay, well, great, because I've already started attracting healthier emotional people.
Well, if that's the case, I'm very happy to hear that. And then why are you asking me the question then, since it's already happening for you? Help me understand that.
Well, I just wondered, if I continue to heal the trauma from childhood, that I will continue to eliminate emotionally unhealthy people.
In fact, that's one of the signs, Sue, that you are getting healthy. And the reason I say that is because when people have trauma, there's all kinds of trauma. There's emotional, there's physical, there's sexual, there's all kinds of traumas where the system is overwhelmed by somebody's bad treatment. When a person has trauma that hasn't been addressed, there's still a part of them that is very vulnerable to someone who is similar to the perpetrator or predator. For example, somebody that maybe is really afraid to speak up and doesn't want to say their own opinion. Until that gets dealt with and they strengthen up so they can say no and have their boundaries and their choices, until that point, a lot of times they will attract controlling people. The person who doesn't have a voice will attract controllers. Does that make sense?
Yes, because that's what I discovered with the NPD person, is they're very controlling.
Sure. Sure.
And
here's the deal. Here's the deal now. This is kind of the magic of the whole situation, is whether it's certified narcissists or predators or just yucky people that really want to, they don't want the relationship because they care about somebody. They want to use people in some way.
Right.
They are drawn to that, and I'll tell you why. Think about your house. Now, what's on your front door that you put a key into that you jiggle it every time you leave your house? What do you call that?
The lock.
It's a lock. It's a lock. We all have a lock on our house. And sometimes we think, gosh, I need to get a bigger, better lock. Is there a lock that, nobody can get through? And talk to a locksmith. And I had this conversation when I would buy a new house. I go to a locksmith and say, where's a lock in this neighborhood that nobody can get to? He said, sir, that doesn't exist. Somebody can always bring a bigger bazooka, and blow away your door. So it's not a matter of a totally theft-proof lock. He says, you want to have a lock that's hard enough that he'll go to your neighbor's house because it's easier. The same point is true as you grow and you get like you said, your issue with the NPD was that they wanted to control you and you didn't have a voice, and now you're starting to have a voice. And what happens is the narcissist is not going to keep knocking at your door saying, let me control you. They're going to go, Sue's a lot of work now. I don't like this. She says no, and she disagrees, and she has an opinion. I think I better go to the next person because they look more vulnerable. That's why the magic happens.
That I blocked this person so they couldn't contact me, and they found another way to, but I don't respond.
So I think you're doing everything. I think you're doing everything right, but I don't mean, I want you to get the skill in your growth work, not only of blocking people. There are some people that have to block. That's the physical blocking, but I want you to learn how to block in a nice way anybody in your life, and not in a mean thing, but just to say, no, I can't do that. Or, gosh, I'm sorry that we wanted to go to a Chinese restaurant and you're mad because you wanted to go to a Mexican restaurant. I don't do that. And you start to develop that, then you don't have to block them because they just go away. Because here's the goal. Here's the goal.
Okay.
Is you want to turn a controlling person into a frustrated person. You want to turn a controlling person who wants to go over your boundaries into a frustrated person because he can't get to Sue and all that sort of thing. So that your goal is being nice, being safe, being no, and they will just not be around you. And guess what? People that love boundaries and people that want to respect Sue and that people want to have a mutual give and take relationship, we can have truth and grace and truth and grace. They'll be attracted like a moth does to the flames because they like the health. So thank you so much for the question. I'm so glad we got to talk about this because this is an important issue. Take care.
Yeah. The other thing is I discovered through this experience that both of my parents might have been narcissistic.
Your parents might have been narcissistic.
Yep.
I
saw the character.
As we say, sometimes, I didn't say it, the Bible says it, the dog returns to the vomit. It's kind of graphic. So sorry for you that are having lunch. But we've kind of returned to the patterns that we learned. It doesn't mean, even if you had narcissistic parents, that you're going to be vulnerable to these people as you get healthy and become a person who's got strong, healthy boundaries. So keep up the good work, Sue.
Thank you.
Yeah. Turn a controlling person into a frustrated person. Henry Cloud and I always say that in our books about boundaries, and it just works. The goal is not to make them a person who just loves your boundaries. There's some people that just always hate boundaries because they like to control. You just want to be frustrated because they can't get past the boundary to take your money or your time or your energy. Okay. Before the next call, and we see your name up there, we'll get to you. I want to tell you about the Townsend Institute. If this is your time to say,
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get right to you.
This is okay, sure.
Okay. Remember that old song, "Take This Job and Shove It"? Well, I don't mean that in a bad way, but people get tired of this job isn't my passion, it's not what I want, it's not who I am, I'm ready for something else. And COVID taught us a lot about, I got to have a life of purpose. I've got to have a life of passion. I need to find something that fits me and I can do great things with my skills. That's what we're for at the Townsend Institute for Leadership and Counseling. We're a fully accredited graduate program. We've got all the accreditations needed to get either a master's or a credential in counseling or a PhD in counseling, master's, credential, or PhD. Our second track is a master's or a credential in executive coaching if you want to be a coach. Or our third track, we have 3 tracks, is a master's or a credential in organizational leadership, counseling, coaching, organizational leadership. We're growing by tons and tons. And here's the cool thing. We've been around a few years now. So our grads are coming back and reporting that what their field directors say and what the supervisors say, and the supervisors are calling us and the bosses are saying, these students these graduates are the best of the best. They're getting great jobs. They're very happy. I'm around there all the time. We've got a ton of great PhD faculty that can help you. Our staff's great, and we're all online, so make it convenient to you. So Stacey always puts out the website, the link to get on the Institute. But the next step, if you're interested in this, go to what we call our information session. And those are several, every few weeks. I show up online. People sign up for it all around the world. They sign up because they're interested in checking us out. I'll talk. Our staff will talk. You get to know us personally. Answer any question you've got. just go to the info session and you'll get that next step sort of, oh, this is my fit sort of experience. Okay. Anyhow, didn't mean to interrupt you, but hello, caller.
Yes, no problem. Dr. Townsend, please don't count this as a question. If we have any questions regarding how this program works, is there a number I can call?
How this particular program that we're doing right now, how it works?
Yes, because
well, let me ask somebody. Let me tell you somebody smarter than me, and that's our producer, Stacy. Stacy, can you tell this nice lady what number she calls?
I believe she's already dialed our number, so she's in here, but are you asking about this live show that you're on right now, or are you asking
Let's say,
about
for example, I cannot listen. Can I listen to other people's questions, then I can learn, or we have to wait and it is like private, each person asks their question?
I see. Yes. So let me ask you this question first. How did you find the number to call?
Oh, because through the, I used to, through the Facebook and also Dr. Townsend website.
So if you are on his Facebook page right now, he is live on his Facebook page, and you can simply hang up and just watch the show on his Facebook page.
I will do that, but next time. No, maybe I am not, but I just wanted to know for next time, and I won't take your time. Thank you so much. Now I go to my question, Dr. Townsend.
But first, I need your first name and where you are in the world.
I'm sorry. I am more in a rush than you are, Pari, P-A-R-I. I am from Irvine. And my question is regarding, very, primary question. And sometimes but it covers a lot of things. I don't like to parent other adults, or I feel like it's a common sense or common courtesy. Let's say we are in Bible study, for example, and I take, let's say, cold cuts, and I want to go, and a lady just walks, oh, let me help you, and she touches every piece with her hand, which I definitely.
She touched it. Wait a minute. She touched it. She touches the meat with her hands like this.
Yes, and she touches, and I couldn't eat it at all. Yeah. But how can I say in a nice way? I am embarrassed to tell another lady sitting next to me, would you please wash your hand first? Yeah. How can I say it in a way?
Okay. All right. It's a great question. Perry, is this for someone that you know that you can talk to later, or is it someone that you might never see again?
Both.
I can only answer one. I only answer one question.
No, the one I know. The one I know is harder. You know that. The one I know.
It is. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a role play. A cold cut finger, a fingers cold cut role play, a germ role play for Perry. Yes. All right. And
honestly, it has nothing to do with COVID. Even before COVID, I still have this question. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Here's my question for you. I'm thinking of some ways to do this. Would you be okay not saying anything then and having a private moment later, or do you feel like, no, I've got to handle it right now because they might put hands on my food right now? Is it a right now, or can I do it later?
I want to do it right now because later it will get worse, and I know the person I know, she will get more upset.
You know that she would get what?
More upset. They don't like to be criticized. But if I say it, then I have saved not only me, other people from eating contaminated food.
All right. I'm trying to do this in a way that will preserve your cleanliness, which sounds reasonable, and at the same time not cause a big shame attack on her part. Is there a way that, we haven't done the role play yet, I'm just thinking of the scenario, is there a way that you can get her in the corner, get her away from everybody so that she's not around people hearing you shame her? Can you do that? Can you get her away? Okay. All right. Definitely. We're in the corner.
Yes.
All right. Let's call her Laurie. Okay. So you're going to be Laurie. You're Laurie.
Yes.
And I'm the healthy Perry. Okay, and so
Okay.
and you know that you haven't. Has Laurie? How do you know Laurie hasn't washed her hands? By the way, I don't. How do you know that?
Even if she has watched, maybe that was before driving, before she,
Fair enough.
on the
Okay.
way.
But
I
how
don't
are
know.
people supposed to get the? I mean, is there a fork that people can use to pick up the cold cuts?
She didn't. Yeah, there was plenty. I took it myself, but she doesn't bother because her hand.
So you'd be happy if she started using a fork.
Oh, definitely. I will be.
That's our
even
goal. That's our
thankful.
goal. Okay. All right.
Yes.
So, all right. So you're seeing that she's there, and you know what she does, and so I'm gonna be Perry. Laurie, good to see you. Have you got a second? I want to chat about something for just a second.
Of course. Okay.
Great. So
Let me finish. Let me finish putting the food, and then we can talk.
Don't. Well, you may have to. If that happens, you may have to just not have lunch that day or something. But anyway, get her away.
Yes.
So glad
Okay.
that you're here, and I just love our meeting and our Bible study. I have a question for you. And by the way, anytime I ever have something that I'm doing that doesn't go right with you, I hope you feel free to let me know if I ever do something annoying or improper. Yes. Do you feel free to let me know, Laurie?
Of course, I will.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I have a little thing, but a little thing is a thing. Yes. I love it that you give and you serve, and I love your interaction in the Bible study. But would you do me a little favor of just starting to use a fork with the cold cuts?
That is amazing.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I'm just thinking about how the fork is there, and why isn't she? It's just absurd why she wouldn't. Anyway, let's get it through. I want to get this done successfully for you. So, Laurie.
Yes. Okay.
I know it's a little, but would you mind? It's just how I feel about germs and cleanliness and health. I'm concerned about health. Would you mind using one of the forks to pick up the pieces of cold cuts? Would that be okay? And do whatever Laurie would do.
That's okay. You can do it yourself, Patty. I am not going to help you. Because the way I know that person, that's the way she will answer. But
let's do it. No, stay in character. I get it. Okay. So, yes. Laurie, you're saying I can do it myself. What does that mean? I'm just asking. Could you start using a fork? Is that unclear?
Okay. I will use it. I will use it if it makes you happy. Yeah. Thank you so much.
It will make me happy. It'll make me healthy, and it's so kind of you to be considerate of my feelings there. Thank you so much, yes. Laurie.
I love that.
How did that feel? Is that something you can do?
Yes.
All right. Now, I have a question for you. I need to know what's one skill you just picked up in our little interaction, one skill that's useful for you? We did about 4 or 5 different skills as I'm thinking about. What's one really helped?
What it was instead, I started with positive and ended with positive. Like appreciate her serving and helping out and interaction, and enjoy like that she is in our Bible study. But at the same time, you are very kind and considerate to, just to value, my feeling. And what you said, the sentence I cannot repeat, but I really appreciate your kindness and care.
You're welcome. And you really understood it, because they always talk about the difficult conversation sandwich. And it's a sandwich. We're talking about cold cuts. We're talking about sandwiches. It's the food day, right? But you always start with the grace. The grace part is the bread. And then the truth part's in the middle. That's the meat. And then the grace part is the other piece of the bread. You start with the grace, then you're direct about the problem, then you go to the grace. You totally understand the system, and I hope it goes well, Perry.
Thank you so much, Dr. Townsend. Right. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Gosh, Stacey, I'm getting hungry after all this.
You feel like you need a sandwich?
Yeah, but I'm not going to touch it in front of people either. So anyway, but Perry's right. I mean, you got to say these things to people, and we hope they'll take it right. But these are reasonable requests. Anyway, who we got up next?
Okay. Your next caller is live with you. Caller, you're live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead with your first name and where you're from.
My name is Carol, and I'm in Corona, California.
Corona, California?
Yes.
All righty. Good. Well, what's your question today?
Well, it's a little situation. I haven't called in before, so I don't know how you deal with time, but I'll try to be brief.
We want just kind of a summary of it, and then we'll do what we can to help.
Okay, thanks. I'm calling about my stepdaughter. She's 47. She lives about 6 hours away, and she's got a 16-year-old son, and she's been fairly self-sufficient in her adult life, but she's made some bad health choices, and she has a history of coming to her dad to bail her out.
Is her dad your husband?
Yes.
Okay.
And so she emailed me this morning because she was afraid to call her dad, and she said that she's feeling broken and alone, and she's not doing well physically or mentally. She thinks she's in a crisis mode, and she had actually called the suicide prevention line. I don't know if that was last night or today, but anyway, she didn't ask for anything specific. She just says, I know I should be brave, but she's broke. She's only got $87 to her name. She's gone through all of her savings, and we just want to make sure that we're not acting foolishly, but either way, either bailing her out or not coming to her rescue. So do you kind of get the picture?
I get the picture, and I'm sorry to hear this, Carol. There are two things I want to address here to help you. One's immediate and one's long-term. Let me ask the long-term question first. How serious is the bailing out problem? Is this something that's happened over a period of years? Is it constant? Does she always tap into you guys?
Several times she has, several times, and it feels like kind of a guilt trip. Like, I know you guys have money, you can help me if you really wanted to, kind of thing.
That's kind of a guilt trip. Instead of I'm desperate, I don't know, you don't owe me anything. That would be a nice thing to say, but if you've got money, okay. So she's kind of manipulative. All right, I've got a long-term thing I want to go into, but let's talk about the immediate. I'm concerned about the suicidality or the suicidal verbiage, because whether or not your stepdaughter is really thinking that way, or whether she is, it's just kind of talking. People have accidents and bad things happen. So what I'd like for you to do is to call the police in that area and say, could you do a check? Could you do a safety check?
Okay.
We have to take these things very, very seriously. Would you do that?
Sure.
And if she's grateful, that's one thing. If she's mad, that's another thing. But err on the side of, being cautious about this. Now, here's what a lot of people. So that aside, let's suppose that's taken care of, and she's either, got some help somewhere or whatever. The town is helping her or whatever. Let's get to a separate thing, which is at some point when she's stable. What I mean is she's not in danger of hurting herself. You and your husband, there's two things. One is before you and her husband talk to her. See, the problem is people wait until the next time they come in for the bailout, and that's a horrible time. Because everybody's emotions are up, and we call it the amygdala hijack, and everybody's melting down. Nobody's rational. So you want to be proactive about this. So the two things that got to happen is you have to call her, but before you call her, you and your husband got to get on the same page. Are you on the same page about what you do and don't owe her? Or are you kind of at two different places?
Well, we're pretty much on the same page. I tend to be a little more sympathetic, I think.
Okay. All right. You need to have a united front that, I don't know, you guys are, I don't know, if she's got a daughter, you're probably let's say you're in your 60s. Is that fair enough? I don't want
I'm
Ish.
sorry, I didn't understand that.
I said you're probably in your 60s or so, right? You and your husband?
70s.
Okay, so you're mature people who have lots of energy, and 70s are a great decade.
Right.
But you guys are going to have a daughter who, unless she begins to get real help, good counseling, good coaching, a great church, whatever it gives her autonomy, support, so that she can work and she can earn money and she can be stable. You know, if the bailing out is not helping, the bailing out is going to increase the not helping. So y'all got to say, you know, we don't want to keep handling this every crisis and it's not helping things. And especially, I really don't like John, I don't like the guilt-defying message thing. So here's what you have to do is you guys, you and husband sit down and say, here's what I would do. Think of a number that you're going to say, this is your lifetime number. Let's call your daughter Ruth. This is her lifetime number, and that we'll give it to her, and that's the last thing we'll ever give her as long as we live. And maybe it's $10, maybe it's $10,000. It's a number. And you've already shown that you're generous people because you have given to her before. And so then you call Ruth once she's stable and it's a good time for her, and say, honey, we've been thinking about this, and here's our number. Now, I want to play with that conversation with you. So I'll be you and you be Ruth, and you do the manipulative thing, because I want to show you how to handle this. Okay. This is the phone call.
Okay.
You ready? Okay. Hey, honey. Hey, Ruth.
Hi, Dad.
Everything okay? I know there's a lot of struggles, but basically things are fairly quiet today.
Yeah, they're okay.
Okay. Well, your mom and I have been, wait a minute. I'm not training your dad, your husband. I'm training you. Let's go back to you. You're both on the phone, but I'm talking to you. I'm mom. Dad and I want to talk about something and take a few minutes of your time. And it has to do with the way we think we can best help you, because you've had so many challenges in health and in life and in finances. And we think we have a solution. Are you open to that?
Sure.
What we found is that we kind of catch you every crisis, and then we feel like we're sort of putting a Band-Aid on a big problem, and because it doesn't get better, and you're sad and you're upset, and then we're upset for you, and nobody's happy, and our little Band-Aids aren't helping. But we'd like to really give you a stake where we want to give you X amount of dollars. Now you're going to fill in the blank, Carol. We're going to give you X amount of dollars, and this is all we're going to give you for the rest of our lives. And this number we think is enough to kind of give you help and stability, and it's sufficient that we'll never give you any more again, but we love you. Just look at it like a launch thing to help you have a new life. And I want to let you know that and see what you thought about that. Now, do whatever she would do.
Well, that would be great, but my health is so bad I can't work and stuff, and that's $10,000. That's not very much money. That's not going to last me very long. Right.
Yeah. Who knows? And that's why I want you to use that $10,000 to find resources so that you won't need another $10,000. County resources, church resources, city resources, rescue mission resources. There's lots of places on the internet that tell you what you can do with $10,000 to start those structures of support ready for when that $10,000 gives out.
Yeah, I just don't have the energy for that, Dad. I just don't have the energy. I'm too sad.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, think about it and let us know. And the minute you say you like the program, we'll have the check out to you. But until then, there won't be any more. Just want to let you know, sweetheart.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So what was that like for you, Carol?
Well, it for me as the daughter, or for me as the stepmother? For
you as the stepmother. For you.
Well, I mean, it feels really nice if it would be that easy, but
I didn't want you to throw me softballs and just not be her. I wanted you to be, if she's really manipulative and victim me, I wanted you to do that so you could feel it with me, so you could work through it. Would she be worse than that?
Well, not overtly, but it's just that she always complains about how mentally and physically stuck she is. And
All right,
we're
say, I
already
want you
saying,
now. All right, I get it now. Do that part. I think you were throwing me a softball. So do that part and up the ante a little bit. And I want to show you how to handle it.
well, be her again.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just mentally and physically too wiped out. I'm just in this big crisis right now, and I can't figure out. I mean, I don't know who to call, and all my church friends I've kind of cut off because I'm such a weirdo.
I know.
So my
you
sister
feel
and
like
my
there's
mother
nobody
won't pay
left.
any attention to me. Yeah, there's
I
just
get it.
nobody
I get it,
left that
sweetheart.
cares about me.
Then there's county resources and city resources. And when you get enough energy to start making phone calls and all that, that'll be good. One thing I can think about, maybe if you accept mine and our deal, our $10,000 deal, maybe you could hire somebody to help you get a life of structure together. Like there's life coaches that you could spend not anywhere near that much money, but somebody could help you with the phone calls, help you find those people. Life coaches are all the place. I can look for one and give you a couple of names. But maybe if because I know you're so sad and you're so tired, a life coach can come and do things for you for a fee that will help you have the life you need. So let me know if you're interested in that, sweetheart. Okay.
Well, that sounds
Till.
like a good idea.
All right. Now, how are you? You feel a little bit better about that part, Carol. What was different?
Well, she called us in December and said she was having a panic. She needed to have a family meeting. We needed to get out there right now, which we did. We went and she was kind of in the same place, big crisis. And so we took her to social services. We hooked her up with a doctor that her dad is paying for every month. He's kind of a medical club or something where she can go for basic things. And we got her hooked up with social services, the food bank, all that kind of stuff. And she sounds like she's having a lot of trouble getting her disability claim finalized.
Right. So here's the thing, Carol, is she has in my book, people feel like there's a category of people called chronics. And chronics they're not mean people. They're not bad people. They're just people who don't learn from experience. They have no learning curve. They keep making the same mistakes over, and they're always in a jam. They're always in a crisis. And they get better. Chronics get better when two things happen. One, they need love, and you love her. But the second thing is they get some kind of a structure that has limitations. That's why if you don't do something like what I'm saying, you guys will be 93 and she'll be still getting the phone calls. So get her that life coach or some kind of aid with that money. That person's job is, then you guys are not on the hook to keep being the life support system. That person's job is to help her find a beautiful thing called autonomy, self-sufficiency. She hires that person to give her what she needs and find the support structures and in our country, and there are many, to get that. So I hope that goes well for you, Carol. Best wishes to you.
Thank you. Would your office have a list of life coaches in other cities?
Oh yeah. Just leave some information. We'll get some names to you. What part of the country is she in?
Near Phoenix.
Absolutely, it's a great place. Just let us know.
Yeah. Okay. So where would I find the number for your office?
Well, I think what you need to do is to leave your contact information with Stacy, and Stacy will handle everything.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carol. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, doesn't your heart break when you see somebody you love who I was going to say through no fault of their own, but gosh, with her attitude and her bad choices, I would never blame somebody or judge somebody, but your heart goes out to her. At the same time, you see that she's on her own worst enemy, her stepdaughter. And that's when you have to say, here's how much love I have, which is unlimited. I don't have unlimited love. I have limited time and I have limited money. So here's how much I can do. Don't get caught playing God for somebody that could be dependent on you and manipulate you the rest of your life. Not good for anybody. Stacy, that was a great time. It was a lot of very, very vulnerable and helpful phone calls and people that really
Absolutely.
are looking for
And
answers.
we just thank everybody for calling in. We know that not everyone has the opportunity to be able to call in via, they're at work or their kid pickup line or whatever. And we can usually take questions by writing in, but we love to talk to you. So
We
thanks
do
for
prefer the
calling.
talking.
Absolutely. And we will not be with you next week, but we will be back live with you all on June 29th. So join us then.
Okay. Have a good week.